So if you've just joined us and you're wondering what does growth mean and what does scale mean, what we're talking about here is the different stages of technology adoption for businesses as they grow. We call this our growth roadmap. Matt dropped a screenshot into the comments. And this is the different stages of business and how these different stages will adopt and work with technology differently, and what areas of business that they can use technology to help with their business challenges. Cool. So we want to talk about when we're working with database decisions, creating KPIs, and creating that line of sight. I've already covered that and shared how that needs to work. Next up, the next biggest challenge for these businesses is modernizing old school and let's call them legacy applications, right? And so quite often you're going through that decision-making process that I mentioned of finding cloud-based software that's going to replace legacy applications. But every now and again, you also have something like a Windows-based database that is just stuck in the business, right? That you need to use just because it's the only one of its kind, or it's an industry-specific application and there's just no cloud-based alternatives for it. And so at this point in time, what these businesses are forced with a decision on is, do you build something custom or do you try and keep this old legacy application still running? And there's heaps of options for what different roads that you can go down and pros and cons, whether you want to build something in-house or find something to buy. What many businesses will now consider doing is actually spinning up cloud-based servers and getting rid of local infrastructure, so it's all completely in the cloud, and actually running these applications on either GCP, Google Cloud Platform, or something like AWS. And once you've got that application hosted online, you can actually then stream it down to something like a Chromebook so that your team can work on that. And so that's what these scale businesses are doing. They're actually removing all of the infrastructure and completely removing it. And when I hear of large organizations taking this step to completely cloudify their business, when we think of a company that has 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 employees, we think about businesses that are maybe a little slower to move. They're in the mid-market, they're more established, they've probably been in business at least 15 or 20 years. However, some of those businesses are doing a better job of modernizing than small businesses that we talk to. Some of the small businesses that are still in launch scale, or maybe they're even in startup scale, have a NAS drive, or they have all their files stored on their local desktops, or they're sharing files via USB sticks, or maybe they're still using Dropbox to share files rather than something that's actually integrated with the rest of their business suite. And, it's funny to hear of those businesses that are just doing it completely wrong when we then have organizations that are large, that have been around for ages, and they have very savvy IT teams which are actually moving things across. So moving these applications across to cloud-based solutions gives you data. And what I mean by that is, if you're let's maybe say you're a business that does a lot of on-site kind of work, if you move to an application like SimPro, then you're able to pull out data via the API and we can actually then visualize that data. If you're a business and you want to move to something like maybe NetSuite to run your distribution and operations, then there's lots of data that can be pulled out of that as well, and that helps you with more data-based decisions. Really useful. Okay, cool. The last one that I want to add, and this is more relevant even if you're still in the growth mode of business, if you're between like 4 and 20 employees, gathering data from your employees is really simple and easy to do, particularly with the Google suite of tools. And so we'll use data gathering for things like HR, we'll use it for internal surveys. It's really important for us as we're trying to maintain culture and build our HR operations, which is one of the most important things that a scale company needs to actually do, that we gather data from our team. And we want to gather data and look at trends over time. We want to look at, what's the happiness of our team. When we put on a conference or a training, we want to get feedback on, was that meaningful to them or not? Because it's about more than just what the leaders of the business think is a good idea. When you have a business that is really growing a scaled out team, it's important to actually be democratic, because you're going to get varied responses and opinions on how well you're doing and where the business needs to go. It is absolutely not good enough for your strategy to be exclusively top-down, and that's a very mid-marketing word. Oh, top-down strategy. What that means is that you can't just make things up that you want to do because you think it's a good idea. Rely on your team and allow them to bring their ideas to the table. So how are some of the ways that we do that? Well, we use Google Forms for most of that, and that's simple question and answer forms that we use when we do things like a team conference or when we do a team training. We're always getting feedback. But I want to share with you one really cool thing that our HR team actually built out to keep in check with how the team are doing. Now, right now, everyone's working remotely. And what that means is that we need to keep tabs on how are people going on a personal level. And so our team wanted to do that. And they built something called the Emometer or Emometer. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it. But let me go and search for it. This is our Google site, obviously, where we store all of our systems and processes, and of course, all of the forms. So you can see here we've got things like company request forms. We did a 360-degree review previously. We've got a training evaluation form there. All right, so let's go to our Emometer. So this is an Emometer here, and what this does is you can fill this out anytime, and I think the team prompt the team to fill it out from time to time. And what we do is we just select what emotion we're feeling right now, can maybe put some comments in there, and it even asks, how are you feeling at home as well? So let's say I'm pretty joyous at home, to be completely honest, so I'm going to put that in there, and I can put some more comments in there, and I can hit submit. Now, this is completely voluntary. The team don't have to do it. It's not like we're forcing them to do it or anything like that. But what this does is it's kind of like, a bit of a report and a check-in for the team. The team working at home in isolation, quite often you don't have that human connection right now that you would normally get being face-to-face with somebody else. And so what this little tool does is allows our HR team to connect with the team, see how things are going. And, you never know. Sometimes someone might be a little bit grouchy on Facebook, but they're actually having a great time at work and everything's good for them. Or sometimes everyone seems really great on the surface, but there's something else going on there on an underlying note and they need a little bit of support. And so this is one of those little tools that we kind of built there. So using data to your advantage. These are simple technology tools that I've shared with you that can actually bring that data into your hands, into you as a leader in the business. But this kind of data gathering is how businesses will be able to continue to grow and scale. Because the biggest challenges are around, I already mentioned things like, what your customers think about you. But in a business that, breaches out of growth mode and into scale mode, it really all becomes about people. I mean, every business is about people. We know that. But it really becomes literally all about the people as you grow and as you scale. So I've covered off two. I want to cover off my third big way that these scale companies will actually win, and that is delegation and making sure that you are passing on everything to the team. Now, I've covered in our private group ways that businesses can actually delegate and the different stages of delegation. We've got other videos on that, so check those out in our group if you haven't already. But our delegation to our team needs to be sharing line of sight on the vision and the goals of the business. And so sharing where you want the business to go, making sure that that's repeated to your leaders, and then your leaders are then repeating that to everyone else who's a part of the business, is an important thing to do. So how might we use technology to make our lives easier in that area? Well, I have, from our friends at Asana, an amazing new feature that they have just launched, which is called Goals. And so inside this Goals feature, we can actually build out and put down company goals and company initiatives. They can have sub goals there as well. And then we can actually share those goals with anyone who's working on different projects or different tasks within the team. And so each one of these individual goals can be set up to report on progress, so you can see how the progress is going towards the goal, which is pretty groovy. And then the other thing that you can do is actually link individual projects or a portfolio as well, they allow you to do, so that people who are working on those projects can see how it's working towards a goal. And so the thing is here is that we want to use this software and we want to use this tool so that we're communicating, okay, here's where we're going and here's how everyone's day-to-day work is meaningful towards where we want to take the business and where we want to take the company. And that is just so absolutely critical. It's one of the biggest challenges that scale companies can run into is, we talked about things like silos and communication breakdowns earlier. You start to have the problems, and I have experienced these myself personally, very, very intimately in the last number of years, that the business doesn't always, run the way you want it to run. It kind of feels like a bit of a circus, and you're the ringleader just trying to keep things in control. That's about as good as it gets. You can only ever feel about 80% in control at any one time. So I'm going to show you how these goals work in Asana. This is a paid feature of Asana. So if you're interested in this, you can have a chat to our team. We are one of Asana's newest global partners, and our team can help you out with doing a trial or a demo of a paid account with Asana. So we've got our goal here, and that's to build our concierge business to $1 million in recurring revenue. And so that goal here is something that I want to share with the team. And so I can actually set a progress metric. And so from here, I can say, all right, let's jump in and throw in what is going to be a metric for progress. Now, you can just do percentage if you want, but if it's something that's a dollar figure, then we may as well actually use dollar figures. And let's say currently right now, I think we're at about 500,000. So we'll put 500,000 in there, and then I want to go 1 million as our target, and then we go save, right? And so what this has done is this has set the goal, and it's going to give us the opportunity to report in progress as we're moving towards that goal. Now, you'll notice here that we can also set up sub-goals, and these are probably going to be the contributing goals which are going to work towards our top goal. So what contributing goals are going to work towards our top goal with something like building up our concierge business? Well, it's going to be working on our customer satisfaction. It's going to be making sure the leads are coming through from our marketing team. It's going to be making sure that the sales team are working on their conversion rate, and they're setting goals around how much business they want to generate per quarter and per year. And so you can see here that pretty easily each team is able to enter what their goals are, and they all kind of roll up into the top level company goal. So that's what we use sub goals for, but we're actually going to use our reporting in feature now to share with you how you can actually report in when you're updating the status. Okay, cool. So let's say once a month, you check in and see how you're going in your goals, or it may even be once a week. Whoever is responsible for reporting on this, and of course, we'll kind of delegate this out to someone. I might delegate that to myself, right? I'm the person who's driving it, and let's say, all right, maybe my due date for that is in 2 financial years, right? So let's maybe put that June 30, 2022. Oh, I think that was the end date rather than the start date. Okay, so let's do the start date now. Cool. All right. So I've got that there. Now, each time I want to update my progress, I can say, oh, well, we added another growth customer. So we've got another $5,000 in our recurring revenue there. And then if I want to update the progress again, I can say, all right, well, let's say maybe we did a little bit more. We did 10,000, right? And so I can also choose whether it's on track or whether it's off track. And then basically, eventually, this is going to show us a number of snapshots along the way of how we're going towards that goal. Now, the best thing about this is as soon as you start linking in projects, and let's say, for example, I might link in, okay, let's link in the exec project here, and I'll link in the marketing project, which is called Attract. And I also have my my portfolio there as well. So I think it's, here we go, exec and Attract portfolio. Each time I'm working in one of those, it's actually going to show me alongside that project, or show me alongside that portfolio here, which is another cool paid feature. It will show me that I'm actually working towards a goal, and that the work that I'm doing here is actually working towards a goal. Now, is that rocket science? No, it's not rocket science. What this technology is supporting is line of sight and communication of goals to your team. So you can use Asana for this, you can use a whiteboard, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you're actually communicating the goals to your team and that they can all see how that's happening. Let me know if you like that. Okay, so we've covered off that. The final little tip that I want to give you is around keeping people connected while you're working remote. Now, right now, everyone's obviously working remotely, and we don't want our teamwork to drop off, and we don't want people to feel isolated, even if we are physically apart and physically isolated. Now, one of the things that we've begun doing to actually help make sure our leaders are effectively delegating and effectively making sure that their team members are working the way that they want them to work, and making sure that each one of our team members actually has the support that they need, is we've just very, very recently introduced co-working for our teams. Now, previously I've co-worked in my team and it's worked extremely well, but we're now rolling that out to all of our leaders. So how do you co-work? It's really, really simple. You open up a Google Meet, or we open up a Google Meet. You can use any video conferencing that you want. And inside that meeting, you just leave it switched on. So you and whoever team members that you're working with, you leave it switched on all day long. Now, you might not do it for the whole day. I tend to do a co-work at least once a week for 3 to 5 hours with my marketing manager, Angel. And so we're pretty much spending the good part of a day working together, and we just have that meeting open all day long. And so it means that we're actually just doing our work. We're not spending all day meeting. We're actually doing our work, but we're, kind of idly chit-chatting as we go along, the same way that you would maybe chat with a coworker if you were sitting in an open plan office. And so what that gives you the ability to do is just kind of like stay connected and stay checked in with someone who's important to work with. Now, this works really great when you end up with 4 or 5 or even more people on the meeting, because you're not necessarily distracting yourselves all day, but what you are doing is communicating and connecting. And so our leaders actually have a co-work day every Friday where they shut themselves off from client meetings, they jump in one meeting, Scott, my general manager, runs that, and they all work together on their quarterly and strategic tasks while they are chatting away. And I like that one because I can jump into that anytime I want and have a bit of a catch up or a chit chat with the team. But a co-work is a great way to keep connected, really simple and easy to do. And so what that does is that makes sure that anything your leaders want to have communicated to the team is actually communicated, and they're actually keeping tabs on how that is going. So I hope these were useful for you guys. We've covered off 3 different ways that scale companies actually make sure that they operate well, and so they continue to scale and continue to grow a successful business. If this has been interesting to you, please drop a comment below and let me know what's the most useful thing that you have learnt in this video. I'd love to hear that from you. Just a quick recap, we covered that technology is becoming a process and you need to make sure that you are thinking about it as a process. Next up, data-driven decisions, how you're actually using data inside the business using dashboards is going to be the most important thing for you to get clear line of sight in exactly where the business is at right now and what areas you need to focus on. And then finally is delegation, is making sure that you have effective delegation and effective flow of communication between your different team members. This is important not only for large businesses that are actually 20 employees and above. If you're a business with just a couple of employees, or you're still in growth mode in the desert of that 5 to 20 employee growth stage of the business, these are things that you may wish to have as top of mind, but now you know what is around the corner. Thanks so much for everyone else who has joined. We'll catch you guys in the next one. If you have not yet already joined our Facebook group, it's a free Facebook group available for business owners. And it's not just exclusively for people using G Suite, but we cover a lot of the Google applications and other tools which are really useful for users of G Suite. Now you can jump onto the link below and join our group. And inside there are other business owners answering questions on everything in the Google world. And we also do more exclusive content where we cover off different areas of small business success and making sure you're using technology as a tool to help support your business growth. If you're interested in any support from our team, there are links below to check out our online programs and get access to our exclusive video training libraries. We are launching that very soon, so please be sure to get in touch with our team and check out everything on our website, itgenius.com. I'm going to say goodbye now. Thank you so much for being a part of this, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.